Hi, and welcome to our history segment on the rivalry of the American and the British. I'm your host, Thais Alves, and we're here to talk about the Boston Tea Party and what took place that day. We have two participants of the Boston Tea Party. We are joined by Sam Adams, the leader of the Sons of Liberty, and British Captain Thomas Preston, leader of the Redcoats. We are here to discuss both sides of the story and find out what really led up to December 16th of 1773. First up, Sam Adams.
Hi Thais, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure.
It all started when British Parliament passed the Tea Act in 1773. The Tea Act resulted in Boston being taxed an unfair amount on tea, which resulted in angry colonists. Boston colonists refused to pay for the tea, which weakened East India's Company. British later lowered the tax, but Americans viewed this as an example of Britain's taxation dictatorship. As a result, many colonists started smuggling tea. The British had 3 ships located in the Boston harbor. Colonists demanded that the tea would be returned. I instructed the members of the Sons of Liberty to dump the tea in the Boston harbor on the night of December 16th, 1773.
Do you agree with the story?
Yes, I recall it happening exactly the way Sam explained it.
Okay, great. What event prior to the Boston Tea Party took place that motivated the Americans to dump the tea into the harbor?
The most important event that led up to the Boston Tea Party would definitely be the Boston Massacre, when the British attacked innocent American colonists.
Well, there's 2 sides to every story. We will now let Thomas explain what supposedly happened on the day of the Boston Massacre.
An angry crowd on March 5th, 1770, was sitting outside of the customs house. There was a fray outside, which also angered the mob even more. The situation worsened. I and the other 6 British soldiers were a victim of rude words being spoken of us. Violence increased, causing one of the angry people from the mob to attack Private Hugh Montgomery, which made him fire. This resulted in chaos. The British and I were trying to defend ourselves from the crazy mob.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing. So, why'd you bring this gun on set with us today?
This is the gun used the day of the Boston Massacre.
What was it used for?
Well,
The gun he used to fire the first shot at the colonists.
excuse me? You shot the first shot, I shot the second shot in an act of self-defense.
That is a false accusation.
Settle down. We don't want another brawl going down.
No, I will not settle down. I will not let this man accuse innocent colonists of doing something that they did not do. You and your fellow Redcoats were the first ones who attacked the colonists.
Whatever, you have no proof whatsoever.
In the Boston Massacre trial, British soldiers were tried with manslaughter. Thomas Preston was also put on trial but was found not guilty. Only 2 British soldiers were found guilty for killing 5 American colonists. The punishment included an imprinted M that stood for murder on their thumbs. Sam, do you think they deserve this punishment?
Yes, it was blatant that they killed the 5 colonists.
How about you, Thomas?
No, I don't think any of my men would have killed the 5 colonists.
Well, did you kill the 5 colonists? You were put on trial yourself.
I was put on a 6-day trial, but I was pleaded not guilty.
The plan of defense was to prove that Preston did not order the shooting. The prosecution called witnesses to testify against Preston and to try and prove that he did not order his men to shoot first. On cross-examination, the prosecution testimony was contrasting. The defense also had witnesses that testified that the soldiers were scared and provoked by the crowd. Later, the court pleaded that Thomas Preston was found not guilty on the basis of reasonable doubt. Well, folks, you heard it here first. On March 5th, 1770, the Redcoats and colonists had a fray, and unknown shots were clearly fired.
No, the colonist shot.
Okay. At the Boston Massacre, when the British passed the Tea Act, colonists were very unhappy and furious with it. They thought taxes on tea was unfair and cruel. Between the Boston Massacre, the Tea Act, and previous events like the Stamp Act, the Proclamation of 1763, and the French Indian War, colonists have had enough. As a result, they decided they would dump the tea into the Boston harbor, to prove that the Tea Act was a bad idea from the start. Thank you both for coming on the show today. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me, Thais.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that's the end of this segment.